Hey, I'm Neurosurgeon Kazu.
Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're diving into what has to be the ultimate irony. We're going to look at why a highly trained medical expert, literally a guy who performs micron-level brain surgeries, gets completely defeated by a simple household gadget. It's a hilarious paradox, but it actually reveals a ton about how our minds really work.
Meet Dr. Kazu. This guy is a former university associate professor and an active neurosurgeon operating on the absolute frontiers of medicine. You'd think someone with that kind of brain power could conquer literally anything, right? Well, picture this. It's a quiet Sunday afternoon, and he's just trying to set up a standard SwitchBot smart device, and he completely freezes, just totally stuck, staring blankly at the instruction manual. So why does someone who can easily untangle ultra-complex brain diseases suddenly hit a massive mental roadblock with a basic consumer gadget?
Let's move to Section 1, the smart home paradox. You know, if you've ever felt your blood absolutely boil trying to reconnect to a stubborn Wi-Fi network or sync some supposedly simple app, you are definitely not alone. And honestly, the best news I can give you today is that it is absolutely not a lack of intelligence on your part.
It all boils down to how different tasks demand entirely different types of processing power. See, when Dr. Kazu is performing surgery or reading a dense medical paper, he's relying on his long-term memory. He's using highly specialized logic circuits that he's painstakingly built up over years and years of practice. It's basically second nature to him. But trying to figure out a brand new smart appliance, that drains a completely different, very temporary part of the brain. You're essentially forcing a supercomputer to run on a totally unfamiliar, untested operating system.
Which brings us right into Section 2, different brain memory circuits. Because it's not just about what you know, it's literally about where your brain physically holds and processes new information.
So when you tackle a new instruction manual or fight with a finicky app interface, you aren't dipping into your long-term storage. Instead, you're relying heavily on what's called your working memory. Think of working memory like the brain's temporary processing system, its short-term scratch pad, if you will. And because this is an unfamiliar circuit dealing with totally new, disconnected pieces of information, your brain just chews through an enormous amount of energy. Seriously, even if you're a certified genius, using a brain circuit you aren't used to is going to make you rapidly and profoundly exhausted.
But hey, it's not just the mental fatigue, right? It's the specific nature of the stress itself. In surgery, an experienced doctor can predict the next step. They know the anatomy inside and out. But a machine error, like when an app tells you device not found for the 5th time in a row, that is totally unpredictable. And that profound loss of control violently stresses the frontal lobe of your brain. Your frontal lobe absolutely hates the unpredictable. When faced with it, it essentially shuts down your ability to think clearly.
Let's look at Section 3, Danger of Digital Stress. We all joke about tech rage, but as a neurosurgeon, Dr. Kazu points out that this specific type of digital frustration isn't just annoying, it's actually physically damaging to your body.
Let's break down exactly how this builds up inside you. It's a very clear chain reaction. Step 1, you hit that tech error. Step 2, that unpredictable failure causes immediate stress to your frontal lobe. Step 3, your brain responds by dumping the stress hormone cortisol into your system, which completely activates your sympathetic nervous system. In seconds, your heart rate shoots up and your blood pressure spikes. And step 4, that's where the real harm happens, because that sudden spike physically damages your blood vessels.
Leaving these everyday, seemingly minor digital frustrations unchecked is quite literally the mortal enemy of your blood vessels. This chronic stress repeatedly batters the inner walls of your vascular system. Over time, this accelerates arteriosclerosis, which is the stiffening of your arteries. And as those blood vessels harden, you are drastically increasing your long-term risk for severe, life-altering medical events. We're talking about major things here, like a stroke or a brain hemorrhage.
And here is the incredibly sobering medical truth straight from Dr. Kazu. Zero. Zero is the exact chance that once your brain neurons are damaged from these vascular issues, like say a stroke, that they will easily return to their original state. Brain damage is largely irreversible. So suddenly, losing your mind at your Wi-Fi router seems like a really bad trade-off, doesn't it?
All right, Section 4, 3 rules for brain health. So how exactly do we stop this dangerous blood pressure spike when that smart plug just absolutely refuses to connect? Well, Dr. Kazu actually has a medical prescription for us.
He prescribes 3 strict rules. First up is the 15-minute rule. If you get stuck, you have to force yourself to stop after 15 minutes. Just walk away, drink some tea, and let your parasympathetic nervous system lower that blood pressure. Second, take digital detox walks. Step outside for just 5 minutes of deep breathing without looking at a screen. And third, read aloud and ask for help. Reading a manual out loud feeds the info through both your eyes and ears, making it way easier to process. Or, honestly, even better, just swallow your pride and ask someone younger or a bit more tech-savvy to set it up for you.
Stepping away is absolutely crucial here because it engages what neuroscientists call the default mode network. See, if you stare at a screen all weekend trying to fix a software bug, your brain never enters its resting state. Taking a walk, taking a bath, or just throwing on some music cuts off that visual overload. It prevents your brain from overheating, resets your parasympathetic nervous system, and puts a hard stop to that dangerous flood of stress hormones.
Ultimately, it all comes down to self-awareness. The very next time you feel that tech rage building up, when you're glaring at a spinning loading screen and literally gritting your teeth, you need to objectively tell yourself, my blood pressure is rising right now. Use that exact moment of self-awareness as your cue to immediately put the phone down and step away.
To wrap up this explainer, I want you to remember this key takeaway. While learning new things and challenging your brain is absolutely wonderful training, sticking with a frustrating digital task until you are furiously angry is only doing you physical harm. So, the next time you're battling a stubborn smart home device, ask yourself the neurosurgeon's ultimate question. Are you really going to prioritize a cheap piece of plastic over your long-term brain health?